what time it is? It's time for another Titans of CNC tutorial. And in this one, we're going to make this part, Titan 8M. It kind of looks like binoculars, and it's got a lot of cool geometry to learn about. So let's get going and crack on with this one. So as usual, we've got the print up on the screen, sheet 1 of 3. And what we're going to do is we're going to draw a few lines, a few circles, and in this case we can see some lines of symmetry, which is the brownish dotted and dashed line. So that tells us that we can use the mirror command to draw half, flip it, which saves us a whole bunch of work. So let's get going. Alright, so as with every drawing, we'll save it in the proper folder. We'll create a new component, and we'll create a sketch in that component and rename that sketch and then get started. Same thing you've done every single time. Alright, so now that we've got our sketch created and renamed, everything's saved in a new component, let's begin. So we'll start by selecting the line tool, and we're going to create a line from the origin. We're going to drag it out, and we're going to place it. Next, we'll dimension that line. So D for dimension. We'll click our origin. We'll click the end point, and we're going to drag it up, and we'll type in 1.75. Then we'll click our origin, and we'll dimension that 0.582. Now that that's done, we've created our angle that our circles are going to be on. We can hit O for offset, and we'll drag it out, and we'll type in 0.2, and we'll also drag out or offset down the other way 0.2. And that creates that 0.4 thickness that part on the drawing represents. We'll select C for circle, and we'll drag out a circle and give it a diameter of 0.787. And then we'll repeat the same process at the other end, creating a circle with a diameter of 1.950. Now that we've done that, let's turn this center line here that we offset to a construction line. Make things easier later on for the extrude. And now that that's done, we're ready to mirror over the large circle. So let's create a mirror line, L for line, and just draw a line like that. Doesn't matter the length, just make sure it's vertical at 90 degrees. X to turn it into a construction line. Click mirror, and now we want to select our objects, large circle, the two lines. We'll select our mirror line now, and we get a mirrored copy. Hit OK, and now we can finish the sketch and do our extrusion. We'll select extrude. We'll click on the large circle, that spot there, the small circle, that spot there, the other circle, and the spot in between. Don't forget that. And there we go. Our part is done. We just need to do a couple of fillets now. So we'll click on fillet. We'll select the edges that we want to fillet. There should be 2 of them. There, another 2 there. Keep selecting, and once we have all of our 8 fillets, we'll type in 0.375, enter. And sheet 1 is done. So in front of you now is sheet 2, and on this sheet we're going to be creating a couple of counterbores on the part. Something to take note is the section view, which shows you what it would look like if you cut the part in half and pulled it apart like a cake, so you could see all the different layers. So a section view is always a useful thing on prints. So let's get started. Alright, so to begin, all we need to do is create a couple of holes. So we'll turn on sheet 1 and run the hole command. We'll use sheet 1 to select those 2 points, the center of the large diameter, and we can enter in the information. Since these counterbores are going all the way through the hole, we can select all for our extents. We'll select counterbore, we'll select hole type simple, and drill point is fine for this. Now we need to enter the diameter of the counterbore, which is going to be 1.380. The depth of the counterbore is going to be 0.5. And the diameter of the through hole is going to be 0.55. And there we go. We'll hit OK. We can turn off sketch 1. We don't need those points anymore. And it looks pretty good. All we got to do is put a chamfer on the edge of that hole. And if we look at our print, the chamfer says that it's 0.05 at 45 degrees. So let's go to Modify, Chamfer. We'll select the 2 points. And then we can look at the chamfer type. We're going to change that to distance and angle. Now we can go to the input box and put in a dimension of 0.05 and an angle of 45. And looks good. We can hit OK. And we get our chamfer. That's the end of sheet 2. Let's save our work and we'll move on to sheet 3. Alright, so we have sheet 3 in front of us now, and what we're going to do on this sheet is we're going to create 2 grooves within that counterbore. Those grooves are likely for a snap ring or an O-ring if this was a real product being made, with a thickness of 0.125 and a diameter of 1.6. So let's begin. Alright, so to create this part, we're going to have to create what's called an offset plane. So we'll create an offset plane, we'll click on the top of the part, and then we'll offset it, bring it down negative 0.225, because that's where the O-ring groove has to start. Now we can create a sketch on that new offset plane farther down into the part, letting us create the location of it. We'll rename it sheet 3 and now let's draw. So all we need to do is we need to draw a circle with a diameter of 1.6. Easiest way to do that, preferred method, is because we can't snap to anything in here, there's just nothing, no way to attach it in the middle. So we'll grab the circle command, C for circle, drag a circle out, and enter a dimension of 1.6. We'll just draw another circle. We don't need to dimension it. Just drag one out, whatever size, click, and then we'll use the equals constraint to make the 2 equal in dimension. And then we'll grab the concentric constraint and we'll use that to place it perfectly in place. Gotta love constraints. So now that those 2 circles are in place, finish sketch, and we can go ahead and extrude those 2 circles to a dimension of 0.125. And OK. And now we have our groove. So the only thing left to do is create our chamfers, break all those edges, so modify, chamfer, and we'll click that edge, this edge, that edge, and that edge, and we'll type in our standard dimension of 0.01, enter, and there we go. Titan 8M is done, sheet 3 is done. We can save our work and we can move on to the next one. Thanks for watching.